Welcome to the Friendly Frequencies podcast. I am your host, Carmen McLeod, and I am here to talk to you about my passion for spirituality and personal development. My purpose in life at this time is to remind you how powerful you truly are and that you create your own reality. If the mind, the soul, and the universe are topics that interest you, and you want to continue to evolve into your soul's purpose, then you are in the right place. Thank you for joining me as I travel the world and record my journey through self-discovery. Hello. This is me coming to you live from the Philippines for the first time. This is my first episode since I have been here. I've been here for about 4 or 5 days now, maybe even almost a week, I'm not sure. But including travel time, I think about a week. I spent 3 full days traveling down here. And yeah, it was quite the long process, but I made it. And there's been some cluster biffs, of course, more of them. I have been tested a few times around just things happening, things going wrong, things that, I don't know, are things that I always thought would be like the worst thing to happen at the airport and traveling wise, like non-safety wise, just like, anyways, I'll tell you more about it. But I'm here and everything is good now and I'm really happy. So I'll give you a little update on my life. So I am staying at a farm/resort. It's called Haraya. And it's like a huge piece of land. They grow every type of food you can think of, food, fruit, vegetable. They got animals, adorable little piggies, horses, cows, like everything. Ducks, chickens, everything. Their accommodation is adorable. It looks like little teepees. They're like little teepees on the property. And it's just huge and amazing and just so beautiful. Nothing like what I was expecting. Because I'm pretty sure the pictures of this place, I found it on Workaway. And if you're not familiar, it's the place that I've found all of these mural jobs that I've gotten over the past few months of traveling, where I would, I have a profile and I can, find people from all over the world, any country I want, and message people who have profiles in that area and they have pictures of their places, and it can be anything from a hostel or someone's house or a resort or anything. And so this one I thought this was just like a farm / almost like commune type thing, and because it looked like a commune on the pictures. And it looked like very simple, didn't look super fancy or anything. So I was very pleasantly surprised when I got here, and it was a beautiful resort. If you have me on Instagram, you've seen a little bit of I've been posting some stories of where I've been working, and like the place that I'm taking this, recording this podcast, I can't even believe it's so beautiful. I'll add a picture, I'll post a picture of it for when I make the post about this episode on my Instagram today, so you can see if you haven't. But it's just amazing. This place is so amazing. So because the photos that I saw of this place were I'm pretty sure they were of this other community that they serve on Wednesdays, which we went up there yesterday to go up there. And basically every Wednesday they go up to this community in the mountains, and they're very kind of cut off from the rest of the world. I've been to a few places like this where, they speak a whole nother language. They don't even speak the same language as the rest of the country. They don't ever leave this area. They're completely just it's like the indigenous people of the area. And so went up there. I think it's maybe 100 people, or no, I think the one we went to was less. It was seemed like about 50 people. Lots of kids. And the staff here will go up and teach them English, teach the kids basic literacy, because they aren't because they're so their own community, they're cut off from everything. They don't learn the same things that anybody else does. They don't really learn anything other than what they know just based on their ancestors passing down their knowledge of, searching for food and hunting, stuff like that. basic survival skills, but they're not taught anything else, anything more than that. So the beautiful people of this resort, because it's not just a resort, it's like a eco, oh my gosh, what is it called? Like a self-sustainable community. Like the resort that I'm on is completely self-sustainable, and Julius, the guy who allowed me to come stay here, who owns the place, he's very passionate about the environment and having people know how to become self-sustainable and eat, the right kind of foods and all this kind of stuff, and just to live in a way that is sufficient, or a good way of, I don't know, I'm not saying it properly, but you know what I mean, like good for the environment, self-sustainable, all that kind of thing. So I'll be learning more about this while I'm here, how to live this way, because I do want to live this way in the future. I want to have my own farm, not to this extent probably, but I want to be able to grow my own food, basically, just my own fruits and vegetables and stuff. And because, if a thing like COVID ever happens again, I want to be able to feed myself, not worry about anything happening in the grocery stores. But yeah, so anyways, we went up to this community yesterday, and the staff, they go up every Wednesday. They teach them, all that, they teach them kind of like it's a school setting. And so when I went up, I gave them a little art class, and it was really like very, very basic. I literally just used chalk on the chalkboard, just showed them how to draw a palm tree or like a coconut tree, which was like honestly the worst drawing ever that I did. Like, I'm not even a good drawer, and I hate chalk, so I was like cringing so much while I was drawing it with chalk. But it was actually a really beautiful experience, because the kids actually did really good job, and they were able to draw the palm tree. They just followed along with me as I did the lines. They did the same ones, and then they got to color it in with crayons. And anyways, it was really, really cute. They just wanted me to show them some sort of creative activity, and it was honestly so much easier than bringing a bunch of paint stuff. I didn't have enough paint stuff to bring down there for sure. Like, I literally only have like a couple tiny tubes of paint, and so that was cool. I'll also post some pictures about this if you want to see. So that's what I did yesterday. It was very cool, very authentic, like just so very cool. I really enjoyed it. And another update is that I'm doing a sober October. Ever since I've been to the Philippines, because I arrived, I think, on October 1st, I have not been partaking in any substances except for coffee, which is literally the only substance that my body actually is dependent on and is addicted to, as per everybody else in the world probably. I really wanted to cut out all substances, like including caffeine, but I tried and it hurt me. Like, it really hurt and I'm not like somebody who drinks a lot of coffee, like 1 coffee a day sort of. And by the way, pardon all the background noise. I'm sitting right beside the water, lots of waves, and there's people sweeping around me and stuff, so lots of noise. I'll try and cut out as much as I can. But anyways, yeah, tried to cut out caffeine. It was a miserable day. I was just feeling really sick and had a headache, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna try caffeine another time. Maybe when I can trick my body into thinking that I'm drinking it when I can just drink decaf. But anywho, yeah, so sober October. So I'm not drinking, not smoking any weed or anything like that. And it feels great. I mean, it doesn't really feel so different because I wasn't normally doing that stuff on a daily basis anyways. But I feel just feels nice, feels good. Mentally, I guess. It just feels like, yeah, and combine that with waking up at 5 a.m. and doing yoga on the beach and watching the sunrise. It's like it all goes really nicely together. And like, I feel like I'm just, and eating food that's grown locally on this property every day, and just combining all of these healthy choices together just feels great. And I feel like this is the kind of lifestyle I'm really I could get used to living for sure. So I'd say that's probably all the updates I have, other than If you haven't seen, I posted about this, I think I posted about this on my Instagram, but my backpack was lost, or not lost, but it was delayed. It was held up at one of my stops in Seattle, which was my first stopover. And they held onto my backpack and never sent it through to, I don't know, Air Canada did some weird stuff. And anyways, I never received it. When I get to Manila here, they said, your backpack isn't here. It's still in the U.S. And I was like, oh, okay. That sucks. Because that's like all my stuff is in there. I mean, I had all my, most of my valuables. I had some valuable things in my backpack, but like all my clothes were in there and just all the other stuff that I didn't need immediately, like at the airport with me. But it was a bit, stressful. But that's kind of what I'm going to base my podcast around today, because it was quite the process in dealing with this situation, and not even mostly mentally. It was really not so much physically. All that happened physically was I was without my stuff for a few days, and I was, wearing stinky clothes that I was wearing for like basically a week straight. And that was, not so bad, but the hard part was mentally. That was really mentally hard, because, I'm all about mindset, and you control your thoughts, you create your reality, all that kind of stuff. That's my thing. That's what I truly believe. So I was put to the test during this, because I had to trust that I was going to get my stuff. And I don't know. Basically, at first, I was totally trusting of this. And so when I first got there, the people told me that, your bag's not here, but we can send it to you. So I moved, and Manila is like a whole day's travel away from this island that I'm on. So I traveled all day to come down here the next day. And I asked if they would be able to send it down here so that I don't have to wait for it in Manila, because I really wanted to get down here. And they said yes. And so I was like, okay, great. No problem. I can go without stuff for that, amount of time. No problem. So I was like really happy with myself. I wasn't angry. I wasn't frustrated or anything. I was like, no problem at all. And then I got here and I told Julius that they would be sending my stuff. And he seemed to be a little bit like concerned, or just seemed to, he was kind of like, oh, I'm surprised that they said they would send it down here because it's so far. I'm just wondering how long that's going to take to get here. And I was like, well, they said only a couple days, and he seemed to think that it would take longer, but just kind of assuming. And, considering how long it took just myself to get down here, I got down as soon as I could, and it took me a whole day to get down here. And so that kind of planted a seed of doubt in my mind. And I got a little worried. And I was like, oh no, because obviously he knows this place better. And like, I don't feel like I can really trust the airline people, considering that they did this in the first place. And I don't know what it's like, the Philippines Airlines, all of this. So I was like, oh, okay, well, whatever, let's deal with it in the morning. I'll think about it. And, but there was nothing really else I could do. Like, I was already down here. It's not like I could go back up to Manila to get it. I could, but it would take me a whole day there and like a whole day back, basically, or maybe a full day of there and back. But I really didn't want to do that. Like, definitely not. So anyways, I just spent, the first day here, I think was really great. I think the first day here was amazing. I really enjoyed myself. I was not stressed about my bag at all. And then my second day here, I don't know what it was. I guess I was just it just sunk in what he said. And my mind started to think about all of the possibilities that could happen with it. And what would happen if I was to never get my bag and I would have to get all new stuff, and my precious backpack that I traded my suitcase for in Cambodia. Like, it is falling apart, but I'm like, oh no, I worked so hard to get this backpack. But yeah, so So the second day I was here, I was really struggling with keeping my mindset in a strong position of trusting that everything's going to work out. And though I actually did for sure know that everything's going to work out in my favor in the end. In the end, it always does. And I also knew that, I'm going to learn something from this. Everything's going to turn out amazing, whatever. However, that doesn't mean that it's going to be the way that I want it to be, which is that I get my bag as soon as possible, or that I get it at all. Even if I was to have not received it, and I have received it since, but even if I was to have not received it, I know that things would work out in the end and everything would be fine. Because at the end of the day, it's just material possessions. Like, that was another thing I had to practice, was letting go of material possessions. I've had to do this before when I had to give away half my stuff in Cambodia to fit everything in the suitcase, or to fit everything in the backpack. I've had to let go of some things that I really love that I never thought I would let go of. But so I had to practice this again. But this time it was obviously just harder, because this is all my stuff. This isn't just the things that I don't absolutely need. This is all my things. And so I was really practicing nope, I'm trusting that my stuff's on its way. I continue to repeat to myself, my stuff is on its way to me. It's going to be here soon. I was praying a lot, like every time. And I was trying to, anytime I'd be doing other things, I was working on the sketch for the first mural. I was doing some reading, all these things. And I just continuously would get in the back of my mind, just like thoughts of worry were just like creeping into my mind. Like, it wasn't even my thoughts. It felt like it was coming from somewhere else. And it was just kept kind of eating away at me, to my subconscious or my, and I'm just like, I can't, I was like really trying. I'm like, because I know how important it is to think thoughts of what you want. And I kept thinking thoughts of what I don't want. I kept thinking thoughts of what if it doesn't come? What if it doesn't come? And I was trying so hard to not think this. And so I feel like this is like I don't know, was the hardest it's been in a long time for me to have control over my thoughts. Like, I felt so not in control of what I was thinking. And so I just kept praying. I was just like, every time I would think about it, I'm just like, okay, God, like, it's stressing me out. I'm trying to stay as positive as I can. Please help me just think thoughts of positive outcomes, and I trust you, trust the process. I know everything's going to be fine, so just help me get through this waiting period with as little stress as I can. And I mean, that's all I can really do. But so, and anytime my vibe would get kind of pretty low, I would kind of put my stuff aside, started meditating, looking at the ocean, looking at the horizon for a while at a time, just trying to center myself and just be, and also just be present with the thoughts that I'm thinking, because it's okay to be thinking thoughts of worry. I mean, that's a natural thing, but it's good also just to notice it. If I can't control it, is to the best that I thought I could, at least just notice it and know that your thoughts are not you. And I was also reading a excellent book, which I'm still in the process of reading, but I was reading an excellent book at this time, called The Untethered Soul. And what I learned from this is that your thoughts are not you. They're actually completely separate from you. So that voice in your head that thinks things and that essentially like narrates your life and narrates what you are doing from one moment to the next, that's not you. That's just your thoughts. Those are completely separate. You are your soul, your essence is just yourself. Your true higher self is completely silent, no thoughts whatsoever. But it's the thoughts that come from your brain, from a different part of your body, that creep in, and a lot of people will take over those thoughts as if they are you. You think, I'm saying this to myself, my internal dialogue, that's me talking. And it's not really you. It's your dialogue that can't just let yourself be, and is always trying to explain things and find reasons for things, and just can't sit still. It's kind of like when you're in a conversation with somebody, or when you're hanging out with somebody that you're not fully comfortable being just silent with, and you guys feel like, especially if you just meet somebody, you feel like you have to fill that silence every time it comes. I feel like it's kind of like that. That's my interpretation of what he was saying. Like, you are continuously filling the silence with noise just to get out of the uncomfortability of silence. And it's just a habit. Like, everybody does this. It's such a habit that, takes a lot of mental practice to get out of. So my internal dialogue was stressing the frick out. And so I just kept trying to center myself back into my higher self, my actual self, the one, the being that doesn't need to worry or think about anything. And it's just there, just being and living in this body of mine. And another thing that I learned from this book is another way of looking at enlightenment, because I've been hearing this word a lot, of course, being around a lot of Buddhist communities and, meeting many monks throughout my travels and all of this. And the books that I read, everything, right? Of course, on the path that I'm on, I hear the word enlightenment a lot, and I've used it myself. And in this book, he talks about enlightenment in a way that's a little bit easier to understand. And I'm not going to get into all of it, but the one part of it that I can remember at this point is he kind of talks about it as enlightenment is choosing to be happy regardless of what's going on in your external circumstances. Choosing to be happy, because you can actually choose to be happy no matter what is happening. It's 100% up to you. And up until this backpack situation, I would have thought that it would be easier than it sound like, or that it would be easier than it actually is. I've always found it quite easy to be happy all the time, but obviously, to no surprise, like, my life is great. Like, I'm always, things don't go wrong for me very often. And it seems that things only go really wrong when I'm in this transition period of going to a new country. Then shit hits the fan, like, kind of, it seems like this is what usually happens. Things go wrong, and I have to deal with some really stressful situations, really emotionally taxing situations, and it's, it sucks. And then once I'm settled and I've dealt with the situations, everything clears away, and it's just smooth sailing from there up until the next country, it seems. And I'm willing to handle this. This is my test. I look at these are my tests for, how bad do I really want this life of mine? I want to travel the world. I want to travel the entire world. Just thinking about that, and I already have known this. This is the reality of this is I'm gonna have to deal with so much shit like this and worse, and it's going to be really difficult. And what everyone sees on my Instagram is me sitting at a beautiful beach, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so jealous of this, chick. Look what she's doing." Like, but that's what you see. That's the nice part of it. But there's a lot that goes behind it, and there's a lot of stuff I've had to deal with. There's a lot of hardships that come with this. And it's really not for everyone. Like, you have to be really low maintenance. You have to be really easygoing. You have to have a good attitude, and a strong faith in, it doesn't have to be in God. It can be just a strong faith in everything works out in my favor in the end. You have to think this way. It has to be natural for you. It has to become natural for you. Because in order to travel the world and to do all of this stuff that is 100% worth it, like 1,000,000% worth it. It's so amazing. You're going to have to deal with all of these high highs that you go through. You're going to have to deal with all the low lows as well. And I've so far dealt with both. I've dealt with many more high highs than I've dealt with low lows. But I've been low. I've been very low in these transitional periods. But I've come to be kind of excited when these transitional periods are coming, as much as it's really shitty to go through it and deal with the stuff that comes with that. I'm really excited because I know how good it gets after this. Once I pass the test, and I feel like I've passed the test, I got my stuff back. I was thinking that me missing my flight was the... okay, great, that was that really shitty thing that had to happen to me. Now I can go forward and everything's going to be smooth. I was like really hoping that that's what it would be. Like, that was that one thing that really was horrible and difficult for me. But then, I had to take one more test of having my stuff lost, and that's okay. And I hope that that's the last test for this time, this period of this new chapter, and that now I can enjoy the good parts of this from now on. And that's what I'm hoping. I feel like this is what it's going to be like, but I'm willing to take as many tests as it can, I'm willing to accept any challenge that the universe has for me in order to weed, essentially just weed out the weak ones, or weed out the people who really don't want it that bad. I want this so bad. I want this life that I'm living to continue this way. I want to continue traveling the world. I want to continue, and I want to get so much further in life than just traveling and being an artist. Like, I want to be, the next Tony Robbins. And what comes with that? A lot worse stuff than what I've been handed so far, which is really scary. Like, the idea that I'm gonna have to deal with way worse stuff than this is scary. But I'm glad that I'm able to kind of ease into it, and each transitional period gets a little bit harder and harder. The tests are getting more and more, and it's kind of, I'm able to see it from an outside perspective, like that these are tests. This is, and how am I going to respond to these tests? That's, what can I learn from this? I need to be able to learn from every negative thing that happens along my trip, and positive. But the point is I need to, respond in a way that is powerful, and I need to learn from these mistakes that I make and all of this. And that's the test. And then if I continue to pass these tests and be open to whatever's coming, all the unknown things that are on its way, the good and the bad, then I'm gonna have that life that I'm dreaming of. It's on its way, and I am willing to take the next test whenever that is. And as scary as it is, and as much as I really don't want to deal with the next bad thing, I'm quite excited for the growth that's going to come from it. The growth comes from every time this kind of thing happens. And every time something bad happens, it's another shadow proves the sunshine moment. Like, when it comes to this backpack, when I got it, now I'm like, just every time I see it, I'm smiling. I'm like, I love you. I'm so happy that you're here. Like, thank goodness. And every time I use one of the things that I have in there, or put on a piece of clothing that I love, I'm like, I didn't have this for so long, and now I do. Like, I'm just so thankful for what I have. And I wouldn't be acting this way if I didn't go without it for a while. So it really takes, so it was another shadow proves the sunshine moment. I had to deal, being in the shadow, being without my stuff, makes being with my stuff, the sunshine, makes being with my stuff so much better. And so it makes life seem so much better. When you have times of hardship, you really are thankful for when things go right and life is good. So I'm going to appreciate these moments of happiness and calm and peace and joy so much more than I would if this was all I experienced. If I was only happy and joyful and everything was easy all the time, I would take it for granted, and I would just think that this is, it would be pretty boring, to be honest. Sounds great, but I would not be so thankful for it because I wouldn't know any different. So I need the hardships in order to prove the sunshine. So let's see what we got going on here. Yeah, honestly, I think this is all I have to say, to be honest. Yeah. All right. I just wrote a few notes about this, and just checked them all. So basically that's all I have to say. So how can you take this into your own life? I feel like, maybe you're going through a situation where you are in that testing period. Maybe things are going really shitty for you right now. And if so, just know that good, it's the test. It's the test to see if what you really want is something that you really want bad enough. If you want it bad enough, then the world will test you. You're going to be tested in order to make it to that next level. Um, like I read in a book, New Level, New Devil. I love this. The book is Get Rich, Lucky Bitch, and I highly, highly, highly recommend it. It's a money mindset book, for mostly for women, obviously, but highly recommend it. Like, I've read it twice, and it's life changing. It's amazing. Anyways, New Level, New Devil. So if you want to get to the next level in life, and most people do, you don't really want to stay stagnant in this comfort zone that you're in. Well, I'm sure you probably do. A lot of people do love to be in their comfort zones. But if you want to exceed to the next level of life, and you want to experience more joy, more pleasure, more excitement, and just all of your dreams coming true, like on your way to that, your ideal life, you're gonna have to go through some rocky roads. You're gonna have to deal with the tests that life throws at you, and how you respond is going to determine whether you get forward to that next level or not. If you if you are going to run away from problems like this and not deal with them and not respond powerfully, if you're going to let them control you and take over you and essentially just fail the test, then you're probably not ready for that next level. And that's okay if you're not, right? You'll get another test later on to see if you're ready again. But if you're not ready, then you're not ready. But if you think you're ready for that next level and shit hits the fan, just know that how you respond is going to be what takes you to that next level that you want. And everything happens for a reason. It really does. So when things go wrong and things get in your way, and doesn't mean that when things get in your way of success, like say you are wanting to be a real estate agent and you fail your exam, that doesn't mean, like, if you're failing your exam, that doesn't mean that you're not meant to be a real estate agent. That just means that you either weren't ready for it. You weren't meant to, well, for sure, you weren't meant to become a real estate agent at that time, because if you were, you would have passed, but you weren't. Just, for whatever reason. You have no idea what the reason is, because you ain't that smart. You don't know what the universe has in store for you. But that doesn't mean that it's not for you in general. It means you need to, it just means you're not ready at this moment, or that life has something different for you at this time. And it could mean that it's not meant for you in general, but, who knows? Like, but the point is that doesn't mean give up. You can't give up in those moments. And that could be the test as well. That's also the test. Are you going to give up when you fail the first time, or even the second time? Are you going to give up? If so, you're not ready. But if you continue to push for what you want, if you really are clear about what you want, that's why it's important to become clear about what you want in life. Because how can you know if it's the right move to keep going if you're not even clear about what it is that you want in the end? So get really clear about this, journal about it. What's your ideal circumstances of life, like in 5, 10, 20, years, whatever. And be prepared for the tests that are going to come your way. And how you respond is what is going to either make or break your chances of getting to that next level that you want. It's always worth it. As scary as it is, it's always worth it. So in your response, just try to keep at the back of your mind, that you can choose happiness. And geez, I know that it's hard. I thought I could choose happiness much more than I really was able to in that moment of when that doubt came in. Like, I found it so hard to choose happiness. As much as I really knew how I was in control of it, I felt not in control. So it can be really hard sometimes, but it just takes practice, I think. So just remember, you can choose happiness. You're in control of your vibration at all times. And as you know, the vibration that you put out is what you get in return. So just, try, worrying is a terrible vibration to put out. Worrying means you're not trusting in the process. So don't be, just get that worry. I feel like worry and regret are the two like emotions that I think are just useless, literally like useless. Because worry is not trusting the future and regret is not trusting the past and the future, I guess. Oh, that's kind of cool. I feel like that should be a quote. But for real, like if you're not trusting that what happened in the past is going to serve you and is for the greater good, that everything happens for a reason, and whether that reason is just teaching you a lesson or if it actually means it's going to bring you way more joy than you ever thought, doesn't matter. You need to trust that what happened in the past for a reason. And the reason you need to get rid of worry is because you need to trust that what happens in the future is going to be in your highest favor as well. Always trust that. Don't be worried about what's going to happen in the future. That is so useless. I think that like literally these two emotions are so useless, and I do my best to just not even feel them whatsoever. Like I rarely feel regret. Sometimes I'm still not perfect, but rarely do I feel regret because you can't control the past. You cannot change what happened. And what's the point? Like it's so useless, honestly. So those two emotions, try to get those just completely out of your mind. Don't let those control your vibration whatsoever. Just takes practice. And choose happiness. It's going to be difficult sometimes, but it is 100% worth it to just live a happy life and to, remember that you control how you respond to things, and you can't control what happens to you, but you can control your response. You can control how you let it affect you. And it's going to be easier at times, sometimes, than it will be other times, but just keeping at the back of your mind that you are in control. You really are in control, and you're going to need to just practice that muscle as much as you can. So with that, I think I have nothing else for you. That's all. That's all I got. I was interrupted. If you can hear the difference now, I am now inside. I started filming this morning at the beach, and then the system crashed on me, and then I had to go out and do some stuff. So anyways, I'm back now. It probably sounds better now, but I kind of liked having the waves in the background, so I'll be filming more at that spot. But anyways, thank you for listening, and it's lovely to connect with you again, and I can't wait to update you on what I do over the next week. I'm starting the mural today, the first mural, so I'm really excited about that. And yeah, okay, I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Love you all.